Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's post-launch news conference. It's always a great day in Florida when we have one of these, and today we have a bunch of happy people here after the successful launch of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying NASA's radiation belt storm probes into space. And we're going to begin with some opening comments, and then we'll be happy to take questions. I'd like to introduce to my left Rick Fitzgerald, RBSP Project Manager from Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. Mike Luther, Deputy Associate Administrator for the Science Mission Directorate at NASA Headquarters in Washington. And Nikki Fox, RBSP Deputy Project Scientist for Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. Thank you all for coming, and Rick, we'll begin with you.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm very happy to report that we have 2 healthy spacecraft on orbit, and many thanks to ULA and Launch Services Program for getting us on orbit, giving us a great ride, and injecting us in exactly the orbit that we wanted to be in. So thank you very much to them, and congratulations to the whole RBSP team for a job well done, and we're continuing with our checkout and our 59.5 days now of commissioning activities in front of us, but we're very happy with the progress to date. And JPL had their 7 minutes of terror recently, and I had my hour and 55 minutes of terror tonight. I had dark hair when we launched, so glad to say that we're on orbit now and everybody's happy. Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, what a beautiful launch it was, by the way. And for some of us lucky enough to be outside, I'll just note that you could follow the flight of the rocket from ignition all the way through the first stage burnout and the staging event, actually, with the naked eye from outside. What you couldn't see was a series of rather intricate maneuvers that the Centaur second stage performed in order to get the twin spacecraft in their appropriate orbits, which they accomplished quite well. So it was just a beautiful launch. On behalf of NASA and the Science Mission Directorate, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to our partners, ULA, United Launch Alliance, and Applied Physics Lab. And now that the spacecraft are safely in orbit, the real fun begins, and we get to, after the commissioning period that Rick mentioned, we get to then begin to perform the most detailed study of the Earth's radiation belts that has ever been undertaken. So we're just as pleased as we can be, and really I want to say thanks to the entire team from all our partners. Thanks, Nikki.
Okay, so today, 11 years hard work was realized by the science team as we stood, a number of us stood together watching the rocket lift off the pad. And as Mike said, it was the most spectacular sight. I thought I was going to be blown away by what I would see, and it didn't even, it just was way, way better than I could imagine. Sonic boom just wiped out any cloud in the sky, and it was like it was welcoming the spacecraft up. They're now at home in the Van Allen belts where they belong, and I think we've all actually now finally breathed out now that the 4 solar panels are out on both of them. So as Mike said, for the science team, the real work now begins. One big milestone was getting up there. The next big milestones are all of our scientific discoveries. And we were delighted today that Sarah Van Allen, the daughter of James Van Allen, joined us at the Applied Physics Lab in the Mission Operations Center, where she was right there as we used our 18-meter dish to bring down that telemetry and tell us that everything was great. So we were delighted that she was able to join us and continue with her father's proud tradition of studying the radiation belts.
All right, thank you. We'll now take questions. Please state your name and your affiliation and to whom you're addressing your question. Marcia?
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press for Dr. Fox. So, based on your comments, they have already penetrated the Van Allen belts by now. They would have already.
They're up in the inner belt, I believe.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And for Mr. Fitzgerald, I can't help but notice your fine dress this morning.
Thank you.
Is this for good luck, or is this your?
This
could you
is
explain?
this is my good luck tux. I wore this 10 years ago for the Grace mission launch, where I was the mission manager, and that mission is 10 years and still on orbit. So I'm hoping for the same for RBSP.
James Dean, Florida today. Dr. Fox, how much frustration was there during the past? We've done 7 minutes, I don't know how many hours, but 7 days to get up in the air after a couple of scrubs probably was a little frustrating.
It was, I can't say it was my most happy moments of my life, but we waited 11 years, and, you know, driving off the base with all that spectacular lightning the other day, I was like, okay, they're not ready to go. So a few more days was worth it to wait for this beautiful launch. But it was frustrating, but that's the space business. We designed spacecraft to be able to withstand space weather. We didn't really think about tropical storms. We were more worried about those big geomagnetic storms. So it was frustrating, but I am so happy that they're up there now.
And so 60 days of commissioning, does that mean it will take that long for each instrument to have fully deployed, or is there does that happen sooner?
Different instruments come at different times. Very shortly, actually later today, the magnetometer booms, which are these from the solar panels, will deploy, and those instruments will start taking data. These actually are the 50-meter, so they're 100-meter tip-to-tip booms, and they deploy those very slowly because obviously it changes the spin rate of the spacecraft. So it takes more than 2 weeks to get all those out, and we're still doing puffs of thrust while we're doing that, so we don't bring up all of the particle instruments until all of that plasma cloud is completely clear. So that's why it takes so long. We've waited a long time. We want to take care of our instruments when they're up there. So some will be on before others.
Marcia?
Yes, for Dr. Fox again. Sarah Van Allen, is she a scientist? And she was in Laurel, Maryland, correct?
She was
not here.
Yeah. She was here for the attempts in Florida last week, and this morning we were delighted that she was able to join us at the Mission Ops Center. I am not sure. Sorry.
Here at Kennedy Space Center, we were proud to host a NASA social for the RBSP launch, and we have some dedicated parties who came here last week for the first launch attempt, and they've stuck it out, and we're happy to invite them today to participate in the news conference, and we have a question.
Thank you. Good morning. Pedro Vasquez, Delicious Blur on Twitter. My question is for Dr. Fox. Now that the spacecraft are where they're going to be for the foreseeable future, have you decided on a name, or will they always be known as spacecraft A and B?
That is still under discussion. Right now, they're still spacecraft A and B. As you know, I've always called them Van and Allen because they're close to my heart. But they will remain spacecraft A and B until further notice, I guess.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? All right. Seeing none, we will call it a day. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a good day. To keep track of the RBSP mission, please go to NASA's website, www.nasa.gov/RBSP. Thank you very much.
Still for a second. 5.
Release.
I did. I had it dry cleaned over the weekend.
Just wondering.